So now we're going to talk about type basics. A typeface is a single set of characters that are referred to as a whole, like Helvetica or Arial or Times New Roman. A family shows every one of them like you see in front of you here. This is Artegra Sans. It goes from extra light all the way up to black italic. When you say font, you're talking about a specific Artegra Sans extra light 18 point. You're getting very specific at that point as to which one it is, what size it is. So that is the basic difference of what those mean. When you're looking at type styles, you will see sans or serif or slab or block. There's a lot of different types of type. And for this example here, I wanted to show you, for those of you who don't know, the difference between a sans and a serif type. When you look at this Mrs. Eves, that is a serif font, and you can see here these little bitty notches that are, these little notches that hang down from the T and off the E and off the M. Those are called serifs. A sans means without serifs. Or it's either called a sans or a sans serif. So Mr. Eves sans, OT, these both stand for open type. You have true type and open type files. That is not something you need to know, but when you see that, that is what that means. So this is, your sans are generally used for cleaner design. And one good thing about finding a family or families that go together, so as these are, they're not the same. Mrs. Eves and Mr. Eves are not the same type, but they're made to coordinate with each other. So you may want to have headers or call out in books if you've never seen, like when you're reading a book and a certain quote has been highlighted as a call out, and they'll put it in a different font. Well, you can use different fonts, but you want your fonts to go together. If they don't go together, something just looks off with the design. So it's good to look for where you have either a sans, like this one has all these different types of faces that you can use, so that you can use your italics, you can use bold, and you can use sans within a design and it still look cohesive. Then you can also put a serif with a sans. You generally don't want to do a script font, like a handwritten or something like that, with a serif because it's just too much going on. It makes the design look cluttered. If you're going to use a serif font, say for your business card comps that are in your exercises, if say you want your name to be in a real pretty handwritten font, you want to do the rest of your type, like your phone number, your contact information, your email, you want that to be in a sans. So it looks nice and clean, but it coordinates and it doesn't, it's kind of like looking at a busy piece of art. The eye doesn't quite know where to go to first. So you want your name to stand out because you're the one you're highlighting in that instance. From here, we are going to move into type spacing and alignment. Now for your spacing and alignment, now if you look at your type, if you want to check to see what font you're using, you can select the type tool, go into the font, and look up here, and it will tell you specifically what you're using. And these two numbers here, 18 is the size of the font itself. This number here, 29, is the leading, and that is the space in between lines. Now what that means is, so if I highlight these two lines, this one has 63.22. If I shrink that down, it moves your lines closer together. Leading and tracking. Tracking is the other term that you'll need to know, and those are the only ones you'll need to know for the purposes of this class. Tracking is the space between letters. Now say I wanted to, they were spaced out too far apart and I wanted them closer together. I would do that. I would do a negative tracking. And then you can also do just certain ones. So certain letters, especially when they're all caps, can make spaces that look a little strange and make them look like they're too far apart, make it look like there's a space in between them. And you can do you can do this gradual. You can just do, say, 3, or sorry for if I was shrinking this down to -3, but if you want to see a more obvious change, you would want to go larger in your numbers. The other thing about type is the alignment. You will need to use this in your exercises. So there is left aligned, center aligned, right aligned. And then there's justified type. And what that means is that justified means it spreads it out over the entire space, which obviously does not look very good. This is center justified. If you've gone and you read some of your books, if you open up some of your textbooks, you'll see that there's no spaces. It doesn't create this, what this is called a rag in between the lines, that everything is the same space. This, obviously, it's fitting within the box. This means it's justified. If you want to shrink this space, you just shrink the size of your box, and it will pull them together. And see how it spreads them out. Obviously, with some things, it will not look that good. And when you'll see that on your exercises, you're required to have examples of all of these in your business card. So you're not limited to just doing the entire thing like that. You can have your name. So I'll type mine. But then I can create another box on, say this is my business card right here. I can create another box that has phone number, typing too fast, email, and given if they may be about the same size, I can justify those. And it will spread them out like so. And you want to play with this, too far. And it will fill that space and create a block of text. So one way you could make this fit is also you could create a shape and fill it with color. And again, if you hide something like that, it's the same as you did, sorry about that, with Illustrator, is you can send to back and it'll put it behind the text. So this is just stuff that you're going to play around with, and that is all I want you to do for right now. I'm not assigning the exercises just yet. I just want you to start playing with type. And next we will be moving into your assignment, in which we'll be dealing with and some issues you may run into as you're doing those. See you then.